It's one simple perception change. You change the cause and all the effects fall into place.
So how do you actually get to that point where you can take someone who's been like a life?
I got my focus on passion and empathy, gaining perspectives, investing. I do believe money and grinding go hand in hand. You will see. I'm working smart, expending my energy. Hope that you feeling me. I'm acting differently. You got a friend in me. I'm working hard to try and work smart. No time to complain. It's time to start. We gotta work. Future millionaires.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Future Millionaires. Today we have on Tyler the Hypnotist, and guys, I'm really excited because Tyler is a master of both communication and psychology, both of which are essential in business, okay, guys? But how does he implement this in his business? Well, he changes lives through hypnotism, which is something you don't hear too often. And he's made amazing connections, and he is living to thrive, not just survive. So without further ado, Tyler, how you doing today?
I'm doing splendid, dude. Thank you so much for having me. I love podcasts, bro. I love getting this message out there.
Love it so much. So starting out, can you give us all just a 60 to 90 second snippet of where you're at right now and what you're up to?
Yeah, so right now I am in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm in the process of getting a place here, moving in with a few buddies. But my main project right now is Hypnotist Secrets. I'm training hypnotists, dude. My mission right now, like tangible mission, is to get 1,000 hypnotists all over the world who can do what I do and change the lives of the people around them. So that I'm super pumped about. It's finally starting to gain some traction.
I love that. So before we dive into your early upbringing, can you just define, what hypnotism is for any of our listeners who might have a misconception about it or just aren't really sure what that means?
Yeah, for sure. Hypnosis is subconscious persuasion. That's all it is. So we have our two minds, right? Our subconscious mind and our conscious mind. Our conscious mind is like our analytical mind, or logical mind, or subconscious mind. The same way I'm speaking to you right now, and I don't have to think about how to move my tongue or the muscles in my mouth or my jaw in order to make these words. I just do. I just know how to do it. I just do, right? It's a subconscious program that's trained into us. So what I do is I change the programming on the deeper subconscious level, regardless of what's going on with the conscious mind.
Yeah, that's what's up. And so now with that being said, and we'll definitely hit more on that later, but can you give us just a little bit about your early upbringing, in like your high school to college years, and then too, how you were introduced into entrepreneurship and hypnotism?
Yeah, for sure, dude. In high school, I was a completely different person. I was the shyest kid in the entire school. Until like senior year, I started breaking out. But I was not able to even order pizza on the phone without worrying about like, what am I supposed to say first? Is this person going to judge me? Am I supposed to like introduce myself, or do I just ask for the pizza or tell them? I overthought so much, and it would keep me frozen in place without taking action. And that's how shy I was, dude. Senior year, I started breaking out of my shell a little bit. Started learning magic. Once I got to college, I hated college, dude. Hated school. Now I love learning. A lot of people who freak out when I say I hate school. They say, oh, but you don't love education? Like, education's so good for you. You need it to be successful. I love learning. But school was the worst. So what I did was, instead of going to classes and learning formal education, I would read books, or I would learn something that fascinated me. And because of that, I went from magic into hypnosis. And the first time I ever hypnotized someone, it like in that moment, dude, I knew I was never going to go back. Like, this shit had the power with this. I walked up to my RA in college, first time ever meeting her, introduced myself as a hypnotist. I have never done this before, right? So a little lesson in that. If I were to walk up to someone and say, hey, I'll be your brain surgeon for the evening. I went to school. I know what I'm doing. I've seen this happen so many times, and I'm going to give it my best shot. Can I try it? They're not going to want me to perform the surgery. Same thing with hypnosis. If I walked up there and tried it, she wouldn't want to go through. Yeah. So I was already a professional hypnotist. And that right there stuck out to me, because the conviction is 95% of it. So I stuck her feet to the ground, dude. Had her feet stuck to the ground. I didn't even know it was possible at this point, right? It was my first time doing it, and her feet were generally stuck. I thought she was fucking with me. High key. The first few times I did it, I didn't realize what it was. But as I started doing it more and more, I realized the potential. So as for like my early days, dude, if I wasn't the shyest kid ever, I would have never gotten sick of it. And I would have never started doing shit that made me uncomfortable, right? And if I never started doing that, I would have never started pursuing what interested me. Just like anything that interested me at all, dude. I learned palm reading because I was fascinated by it, right? Yeah. And that got me into hypnosis because I just went down these paths that I thought could be for me. And when it wasn't for me, I changed the path, which a lot of people are really hesitant to do for some reason.
Yeah.
And now I'm on a path I like. So I'm going to stick with it until maybe at some point in the future I change paths.
No, that's amazing. So how long, or generally speaking, would you like stay on this path until you figured out like, hey, this isn't for me? Or was there generally like a range of where you'd know?
Yeah. So I did a lot of things. This is what I did. I said it for a month, right? First year of school, every single month, I told myself I would learn a new skill.
Mm-hmm.
So I started with magic, I believe. Then I went into palm reading. Hypnotism was like the 4th or 5th month. I learned sign language for a month, like not to the point where I can actually communicate in it, but I know the basics. I can pick up little bits. But I just gave myself time frames to learn new things. Essentially, I just set aside the time to learn things that interested me. And how did I know like this was the one that it really was? Because nothing else captivated me more than this. When I was doing magic, it was so fun, and I kept doing it for a few months after I initially learned it. Right, it was a lot of fun, but I got interested by something else more. I got interested by palm reading more than magic. I just didn't feel like doing it more. Once I realized, like with hypnotism, I learned a lot of other stuff since I've been a hypnotist, right? Yeah. But I'm Tyler the Hypnotist, dude. This has become a part of my identity now.
Yeah.
Like, this is like some deep shit. So when you find that, you know it's there. That's it. But the only way to actually find that, people are waiting for their passion to come onto them. Like they're waiting for, I'll figure out what I want to do eventually. You have to figure that shit out now. You create your passion. You don't find it. It doesn't come to you.
Yeah, no, once you figure out what your passion is, like it just makes everything else so much easier, which is huge. And that's definitely a journey where I'm even still on to this point, because I know I love business and it just gets me excited. Like I love this too, this is another form of networking, which is related to business, relationship, but it's just so fun for me to hear, like different stories. So guys, when you're listening to this, like I genuinely like this, Tyler genuinely likes this, like find something that you genuinely like, and it will never ever feel anything like work. Like it feels like if you're playing Xbox, if you love that, or video games, it's like a fun outlet. So, but Tyler, what was like the first time that you were like hypnotized, or you like got interested in that? Because I'm assuming that there had to be some kind of pull for you to want to try that.
Yeah. So the movie Now You See Me, that's what bridged the gap between magic and hypnosis for me. I watched it because it was about 4 magicians.
Mm-hmm.
Like about 2012, I think. Now You See Me, great movie. But there was also one hypnotist, and that sort of pulled me to that, right? It was this whole new world of possibility. It was like magic, but instead of like sleight of hand, it was sleight of mouth. It was wordsmithing, right? Just like using words and changing the way you say them, and not just like where you say them in the sentence, but also the way you say each word creates a whole different experience for people, right? Words create experiences, whether that experience is boredom or that experience is like, holy shit, and you're imagining your mind and you're experiencing the story as if it were you, right? Words are power, dude. And once I realized there was like magic in that pulled me right away.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. So on your journey to become, on your journey to create more hypnotists, did you like build a lot of relationships with people where you kind of like were able to, use others to help you like on your journey, or was this kind of like a solo mission?
Oh God, no, dude. No, this was everyone I met. Like the past year and a half, I just prioritized networking, to the extreme where I spent 3 months like networking for survival. Like I left my wallet in New Jersey, went to the West Coast of America, started in Phoenix actually, and networked to stay places and to find food, and like for 3 months. So networking is super important. I did that so I would actually develop the ability where, Caleb Maddox, have you heard of him?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so Caleb said something when I first met him that sort of stood out to me, and I actually completely forgot what it was. I was going to go right into that, but I forgot what it was.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah. Where was I, dude?
No, you just were talking about Caleb. You met him, and he said something to you that really stuck out about networking.
I was going down a linear path of thoughts, right? And usually the best conversation, I learned in hypnosis, when you go down a path of thoughts, the best conversationalists and stories will tie off like a point that is about it, right? And then they'll loop back in to make this original thought more powerful. Now, what happens a lot of times is, for me specifically, is I'll go off to loop it back in and make it super powerful, and then I'll build off of that thought, and then this one's gone.
I know what you mean. You got another thing you're building off of, which is completely fine, because what we were just talking about was just relationship building and the power of that, and how that's helped you find places even to stay, like when you basically had.
Oh yeah, Caleb, of course. Okay, so he was the first person I ever stayed with. I hitchhiked the first networking event ever when I decided to prioritize networking because I lost my wallet and I couldn't use my ID to get on the flight and fly over there. So I almost gave up. I almost was like, fuck, I can't go. But I decided, you know what? I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna hitchhike. I made a sign, stood on the side of the road in LA for like 3 hours. Someone bought me a bus ticket actually, made it all the way to Phoenix, went to this networking event, met Caleb, hypnotized him, and then told him I just hitchhike here. I have no place to stay. Don't really know what I'm doing. If I could stay with you guys for a night, that'd be amazing. So I ended up staying with him for like a week. And from there, I realized the power of relationships, not just networking. Like people go to networking events like, hey, my name's Tyler. I do this. What do you do? Oh, cool. And then you get business cards and that's it. Right. But networking, and that's why I did this for 3 months, networking to the point where you're staying with them overnight. Like seriously, the amount of times I've used this strategically, I would like for podcasts specifically, dude, invite your guests over. Do a podcast in person. You can fly them out, have them stay overnight with you, like in a guest bedroom if you have it. You can pull out an air mattress, whatever. Have them stay over. That's how you develop real connections. Like super, super powerful shit. Because who do you let stay over your house?
Only your friends and trusted people, yeah.
So there's that association there, right? Hypnosis is, and associations are powerful. We use them a lot in hypnosis. But we already have these preconceived associations set that we don't even realize, right? By being invited to stay over your house, that's something only a friend would do to me. So you're treating me like a friend. Because you're treating me like a friend and I don't really know who you are, I'm just going to treat you like a friend back because it's all reciprocity, right? And that's how you develop literally an initial friendship from that.
Yeah. So do you have any advice now on how you would, I guess, take a stranger who hypothetically, even if I'd meet them over like in Instagram DMs or something, and if I'm just like, hey, want to come over to my house like for a podcast, like is there a better way to approach that?
Yeah, actually, I had a networking course for a bit before I decided to go to the hypnosis course, and it talked like all about going from Instagram DMs to building a genuine relationship in person.
Okay.
The strategy that we used was, number one, you have to have them know you exist, right? So you send them a message until they see it, until it says seen. That means you're through the gateway, right? So you go from message requests to, okay, now they see my message. You can, and you would send a message every 3, 4, 5 days. You can unsend previous messages if they don't see it. I wouldn't do that just because you can see the message without it saying seen. On their end, they can open your message and read the whole thing and you won't even know it.
Yeah.
Right? So I would just send message every 3, 5 days, compliment specific things about their new posts, about their stories, about what they're doing, tie it into your life a little bit, but very little about you, right? Mainly about them.
Yeah.
Until you get to that barrier. Once they accept you, now they get notifications when you message them. So that's huge.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to swipe up on their stories, stay on their minds for like 2-3 weeks, dude. Comment on all their posts, like all their pictures, swipe up, get a little bit of back and forth, nothing crazy yet. Then you just want to pitch someone like a 5-minute phone call. Say, hey, you know what, bro? I reached out to you first time a couple weeks ago, and honestly, I don't know what it was, but you really inspired me, dude. And I just connect to you. Like for some reason, I just feel like a lot of people say, you remind me of a younger version of myself, but you remind me of an older version of myself. I don't know why, but I can see that in you. And it would mean the world to me if we could hop on like a 5-minute phone call.
Yeah.
Of course, depending on what you want. If you're going to say it would mean the world to me, this is when you're going for like a mentor. If you're going for a business partner, don't go to that lower frame, right? But if you're going to like a high-level mentor or something, or getting a high-level podcast guest, go for they would mean the world to me. You can give them the higher frame if it pays off, right?
Yeah.
Then you get on a 5-minute phone call. That 5-minute phone call should last about 20 to 30 minutes, okay? So you want to find something they're interested in and just fucking let them talk.
Yeah.
You should be talking very little in this phone call just so they can get to love you for listening. And then from there, you want to schedule an in-person meeting. Get one more phone call, schedule an in-person meeting. Say, hey, bro, so I know you're in LA. I actually booked out a flight in like 3 months. So we could, if you're free on this date at around this time frame, we can grab lunch. The sooner the better. And ideally, you shouldn't even have that flight booked yet.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I'll be in LA next week. You're in LA, right? He's like, yeah, let's link up. Then after they say, yeah, I'd love to get lunch with you. That's when you book your flight.
Yeah. Oh no, that's great. So can you give us some examples or whatnot of where you've done similar things like that in your life?
Similar things like what?
Where you've like met up with someone, called them, booked out a flight to go see him.
Yeah, Andrew Hills. You know Andrew Hills?
I actually don't know.
Okay, so he's a YouTuber. He has about 2.3 million subscribers. And about 8-9 months ago, I did an interview with him on his channel called Chatting with the Hypnotist.
Okay.
So about 2 months ago.
Oh, wait, yeah, I do know him. Okay.
Yeah. So about 2 months ago, I was going out to LA. And usually I stay with my buddy Jordan, but I think he was on a trip or something out of the city. And I knew Andrew was in LA, and we've already previously met, but we weren't really friends or anything.
Yeah.
Right. So we did the interview. We met a couple times, but I said, "Hey, bro," and I also introduced him to Jordan. So I like bringing my network together. So I always provide value. You never want to take from people without giving them value first. It's like a bank, right? So I introduced him to Jordan, who's my marketing buddy, so they can work out some deal, whatever. Jordan couldn't be in town, so I texted him. I said, "Hey, Jordan's not in town. I'm going to be in LA this week. What are the chances I could crash with you? I know you got a new apartment with a guest bedroom." And he said, "Yeah, no problem. You could definitely come on out." And then I booked the flight because I hadn't booked the flight yet. But I wasn't going to LA until that opportunity came up.
Yeah.
But you can do little things to look for those opportunities, dude. And because I stayed with Andrew like for 3 nights in his apartment in LA, by the end of that, he literally like said we were friends. Like he solidified it in our relationship just because of that association and because, you know, we have a common interest and we are friends.
Yeah.
But because he invited me over his house. And really before that, he just interviewed me.
Oh yeah, that's definitely powerful. That's a great example, you know, for our listeners to take after and potentially even implement themselves. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like drop shipping in a sense where you don't actually buy the product until you have the sale, except for relationship building. So it's definitely some great advice that I'm even gonna look to implement here. Because
and one more thing on that, dude. My entire relationship with Andrew, how I got that YouTube video, Chatting with the Hypnotist, which is over 200K views now, got me a lot of clients.
Yeah.
I sent him one DM. I said, "Hey, bro, love your interview series. Love the chatting withs. You ever want to do Chatting with the Hypnotist?" He DM'd me back. "Yeah, bro, you in LA?" That's it. That was all it took. And from there, we had this whole relationship. So shoot your shot, dude. It took me one message to get that interview. Why not? Why not message a few influencers today?
Yeah, completely. Like, would you say Instagram's the best tool to connect business-wise and relationship-wise?
That's my favorite tool. But yeah, you can even cross-pollinate, you know, like their Facebook posts and DM them on Instagram too, so you're in different places.
Yeah, no, that's definitely great. So now you talked a little bit about how you would approach, you know, like kind of like a mentor, like a influencer, but you said, you know, a business partner is a little different. So could you talk to us a little bit about like if I had someone who I thought I had a very good idea with, I could add a lot of value to them and we could become business partners potentially, how would you approach that situation?
Yeah, so it's all about the frame you take, right? It starts with your beliefs, what you believe like you're worth. If you're walking up to, let's say you're at a networking event, you see Gary Vee, right? You're like, "Oh, Gary Vee, like, Gary, dude, can we take a selfie, Gary?" And you take a selfie with him. Like to Gary, you're just a fan. You're way down there.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all about your intentions of the interaction. If you're intending to get a selfie, Gary knows you're a fan. If you're intending, like, you don't even care about a selfie because yeah, Gary Vee has a public face that a lot of people know, but hey, that's gonna be my face in 5 years. The world hasn't caught up yet.
Yeah.
And him to do great things together. And you focus on the value you can provide. It's really all about the intentions and how you feel. Your beliefs will influence your actions, right? And those people feel that. They'll know what your intentions are. If you're using them because they have a big following, they're not going to fuck with you.
Yeah.
Because most people who have a big following, their biggest fear is that people will use them for their following, whether it's people they're getting married to, right? Yeah. Friends. That's their biggest fear. So if you come up to them as a stranger and they think you want to take it all, you're immediately cut off. But specifically for a business partner, you would want to go in with an authority frame, right? So even if they're an influencer, you take the authority frame because you're the expert in whatever it is and you know this will help them. So it's really just about the conviction. Like if you know for a fact you can help this influencer, maybe has 5 million subscribers, make $30,000 a month residually with this, whatever you do, right? If you knew for a fact you can provide that value, you take the authority frame and you say, "Hey, you're doing this wrong." And I know that's like, why would I listen to you? But you would listen to me because I'm making 5 times more money than you have. And I have this 12,000 followers on Instagram when you have 1.2 million followers on Instagram. Obviously you're doing something wrong with your audience and here's how I would do it. And then right there, that's a pattern interrupt. They don't expect you to instantly insult them. They're expecting you to like look up to them a little bit, right? So you're going from here to instantly there and they don't know what the fuck is going on at this point. And then when you provide them the value, right now this is when their conscious mind is scrambled, doesn't really know what's going on because you interrupted their pattern. They're more receptive to a solution. And when you provide the solution and you can level out the barrier, so their mind, you can give them an answer, but the answer that you want, it's a little bit of covert hypnosis actually. That's how you can see each other on the same level and they'll have mad respect for you, like massive respect for you because you were able to say what it actually is rather than filtered like everyone else is for them.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think the best approach to that is kind of like more blunt, or is there like kind of a polite way to show that?
There's definitely a polite way, dude. I do blunt personally on phone calls or in-person interactions. I would go right for the blunt way, I believe personally the end justifies the means. So if I'm going to say like one comment that'll shock you, and that because no one else would be bold enough to say or blunt enough to say, and then I know the next thing I say will completely ease any discomfort, and in fact you'll love me more for it, I will 100% go for the bluntness. Like it's efficient. It's really just efficient. But let's say I'm texting someone, right? I just got their phone number and I'm texting them. I would not send a blunt text message. I'll be like, fuck this guy, right? It all depends. But honestly, interaction really happens in person. Like communication really happens in person. Mm-hmm. We have so many different ways of communication. Our body language, as you're nodding your head, you're communicating to me, dude. When we're just texting, we take away everything but the words. And words are not that powerful by themselves.
Yeah, true. Very true. So when you're kind of staying on the relationship building for just a little bit longer here and whatnot, so what were some of like the most powerful events that you went to that really kind of helped launch your career and business?
Yeah, I would have to say build your empire, dude. And the reason why is because that's when I gave myself my brand. That's when I started to introduce myself as Tyler the Hypnotist.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just found one thing that was unique about me. Obviously, I have like Tyler the Hypnotist that stands out like crazy. And a lot of you guys can't just do that. Tyler the Hypnotist, right? But you can. Like you could be fucking Brian the podcaster. It doesn't matter what you do, but Brian the podcaster stands the fuck out. And now you have a brand. Mm-hmm. Right? People will remember that.
Yeah, it's completely.
So I just talked to everyone, dude. Did what I do. I changed lives at that event, and that got people talking. And I just kept the momentum going. That's all I have to do at this point.
Yeah. So right now, I know you said you're building Hypnotist Secrets. Can you kind of and that's like training other people how to become hypnotists. Do you also have any like private clients where you take them on? They're like, man, I really want help with like X, Y, or Z. Can you like help install that with me through hypnotism?
Yeah, so I do virtual Skype sessions, personal development hypnosis, and mostly what I like to do is identify the cause, right? So I do two main things. It's Hypnotist Secrets. That's what I'm building now, sort of a machine I'm building. But for the past couple of years, I've been doing personal development hypnosis.
Gotcha.
And all it takes is like 20 to 30 minutes. And at the end of the session, an entirely new reality. That's it. Because then, let's say you're a smoker trying to quit. All I have to do, like people think it's really hard to quit smoking, and it is because there may be some physical effects and whatever, and you want it sometimes and you don't want it sometimes, and it's really confusing and a mess. But all I have to do as a hypnotist is take you from a smoker trying to quit to someone who's never smoked before. And of course, I can't change the fact that you have smoked, but if you have the mindset, the mentality, and your reality is that you never smoked before, and someone offers you a cigarette, you're not a smoker trying to quit. It wouldn't be hard for you. You never smoked before. You're going to say no because you don't want to.
Yeah.
It's one simple perception change. You change the cause and all the effects fall into place.
So how do you actually get to that point where you can take someone who's been like a lifelong smoker, hypothetically, and get them to believe that they're not?
So there's a couple things. The easiest way would be if you're a lifelong smoker and they still believe quitting's possible. A lot of the times, if you're a lifelong smoker, you don't even think it's possible at that point. You tried too many times, right? So they still believe it's possible. You can do a regular session. I would just sell them on a session. If they don't believe it's possible, you can still create the change as long as you don't mention hypnosis. Because if you mention hypnosis, it's something else that they would have to try and fail at again, and they don't want to do that.
Yeah. Right?
So you can do what's called covert hypnosis, which is also in Hypnotist Secrets. This is super cool. Covert hypnosis is, for comparison, if I were to traditionally hypnotize you and have you sleep and stuff, I would tell you I'm about to say sleep. I would tell you your eyes are about to close, and I would have you expect what's about to happen, right? And expect the result. Hypnosis is really about setting the expectation and then having you realize it, having you experience it.
Yeah.
And what I would do is I would keep your conscious mind at bay. I would tell you what to focus on. I would tell you what to imagine. Now, if I'm just talking to you in a conversation, I would have to talk to your subconscious mind and say one thing to your subconscious mind that your conscious mind hears but perceives as something different entirely. So you wouldn't even realize what's happening, but your subconscious mind would be like, okay, I can relate to that. Because I would, for example, with smoking, the easiest way to do that is to tell them a story. You would use the My Friend Joe technique. And you would say, hey, you know what? I haven't really thought of this guy in a while. I haven't talked to Joe in like 4 years, but he was a really good friend of mine. He reminds me a lot like you. And all you're doing there is you're getting them to associate themselves with Joe.
Yeah.
Right? And the craziest thing about Joe is that he was a smoker too, just like you were, or just like you are right now. But it's not even about the smoking. The thing about Joe is whenever he set his mind to something, he achieved it. But the really weird thing about him is that sometimes he would set his mind to things, but he didn't really set his mind to things. And he thought he did. And that's why he didn't achieve it. And he would get really upset at himself. But then out of nowhere, he would find something and he would really set his mind to it. And he would just go for it full force and accomplish it and feel so amazing after he did that. But the thing is, he couldn't tell when he was setting his mind to something or when he wasn't. Now, I told Joe this. I actually told Joe this exact same story. And the realization he had is the realization you're about to have. That's the covert part to set the expectation. Okay, so now you're about to have a realization.
Yeah, just kind of drawing those parallels. Yeah, that's definitely.
I'm constantly tying you into him. And as I'm speaking, I'm getting goosebumps right now, dude. Look back to the whole passion thing. When you get goosebumps, that's when you know you found your shit. Yeah, so you would compare it back to Joe. You're going to experiencing that in your mind, that holy crap, this sounds like me. Like I can do this too. It's really vague, but I can set my mind to stuff and do it. I've set my mind to things before and I actually did it. And all the times that I thought I set my mind to stuff, I didn't actually set my mind to stuff. That takes away all barriers.
Yeah.
That takes away all objections. Bam. I just didn't, that's the solution. I just didn't set my mind to it. And then all I would do is guide him to setting his mind to it now. And I told Joe this story and he realized that, holy crap, I just have to truly set my mind to it. But how do I do that? And what do I even want to set my mind to? And I said, Joe, how many times have you tried to quit smoking? And he's like, oh man, Tyler, you know, dude, I've been smoking for like 15 years. Like I stopped quitting 5 years ago, right? I don't even know how I would begin if I wanted to. And I said, Joe, that's there, because you just had the most powerful realization of your life. And I'm pointing to you as I'm talking about Joe, right? You just had the most powerful realization of your life. That's a subconscious cue. What is your subconscious picking up? I just had a realization. Now you're thinking, okay, consciously, what's the realization, right? And the realization is, Joe, that you just have to make the decision to never smoke again. And I know it sounded hard before, but you never actually made that commitment. And you realize now, close your eyes and just focus on what you're feeling. And you get them to close your eyes. Close your eyes and focus on what you're feeling. And you realize that feeling now, that decision, that empowerment that you have inside of you because you are in control. And you can just make that decision now. And realize that when you open your eyes in a second, you don't open your eyes until this has changed, until this transformation is done. When you open your eyes, you're no longer a smoker because you actually made the commitment to yourself. Because you actually made that commitment. And when you feel that commitment setting in, locking into who you are, once you feel that becoming a part of you, where you are now a non-smoker, then open your eyes. And then it's all up to their mind to work it out, right? And then when they open their eyes, they're a non-smoker. And then what you do is you confirm it. You say, my friend, this is beautiful. I've only told this story 2 times, and both times, like Joe's life has completely changed. And I can tell by looking at you now, your life has completely changed too. Because I know that you were never going to smoke again. And because you know, I can know that you're never going to smoke. Welcome, you're now a non-smoker. And then you make it real for them. And that's how I've never taught COVID hypnosis on a podcast, dude. But that's one of those powerful techniques.
Well, there you guys go. I mean, honestly, after that too, I'm clearly not a smoker, but I just was kind of envisioning, because there are certain times where in my life, I tell myself I'm going to do something, and then I do it, but I don't actually do it to the level of which I know I'm capable of, you know what I mean? The level of which I should be doing it. And that just is kind of like, to me, like even after this podcast, I know I'm just going to crush the rest of my work for the day. So thank you, Tyler, for that. Already helping me out with the rest of my get-to-dos for the day. But so now I know, especially, you know, I just graduated high school. A lot of my peers and underclassmen, upperclassmen, even, you know, people's low as middle school, whatever it may be age-wise, they a lot of times struggle with confidence. And that's something too, where I'm just wondering, how do you work with a client, you know, who really needs to get their confidence up? Is it a similar approach, or what's that looking like?
Yeah. For clients with confidence, I use really simple associations, and anyone listening to this can do it in their mind as well. Mm-hmm. We have very powerful association set for numbers, colors. Your name is just vibrations we associate with your being. Right? So these simple associations are super powerful. So right now, just imagine on a scale of 1 to 10, like where would you be on average in confidence? If 10 is the most confident version of you, right? You just get that number. Then once you have that number, close your eyes and imagine a scale of 1 to 10, and just imagine a dot over that number. That's all you have to do. But just make that number real to you, right? So just focus on that number on that scale, solidify, because that's where you are right now. And we're about to leave that behind forever. Because focus on right now how that number feels. Mm-hmm. What's possible in that number. Because what's possible in that number is completely different than what's possible if you're a 10 out of 10 or an 11 out of 10. Your reality changes when your confidence changes. So just focus on how that you feel at that number. and realize now that you would never want to feel that way again. There's no reason to, because this number, ready for this? This number is a choice. And I want you in a moment, not yet, to imagine in your mind that number starting to slowly rise up. And you'll notice that as that number rises, the feeling inside of you starts to grow. That certainty, that confidence, that energy starts to grow. And of course, you're in complete control. So if the number is rising faster than the confidence is growing, then that energy is flowing, then you can work your way through it again. You can go back and work your way through it again. But as you do it, as the number starts to rise, you'll notice it gets more powerful and faster and stronger until you get to a 10. And once you get to a 10, you can just lock it in. Because even though it's just a number in your mind, we have these associations set. A 5 out of 10 in confidence looks like something to you. And a 6 out of 10 in confidence looks like something to you, and it feels like something to you. So as you can work your way through the feelings of what that feels like, you can solidify the one you want, the true confidence.
That's what's up. So say, you teach this to somebody, and then afterwards, they go out, they try to close, I don't know, say 10 clients or whatever it is, whatever they're trying in life. They try out for their dance team, they don't get in, whatever it is. And now their confidence drops a little. How do you reassociate that? Is it just thinking of that again and redoing that? Or is there like a phrase you say?
Thinking of it again is easy. What I do specifically is we go for true confidence. I don't know a way to replicate this where I can teach people information and they'll achieve it. It works best one-on-one or in a hypnosis session or any interaction really.
Mm-hmm.
But true confidence is where your confidence doesn't fluctuate based on external circumstances, where your worth and your self-value is completely internal, right? Because what happens is as kids, we grow up, maybe our teachers told us we're not good enough, our parents told us we're not good enough, our friends said you're not good enough, and you start to believe them, and you start to think you're not good enough, and you go through your whole life that way. Right? Because you're allowing this external stuff to affect you, dude. People will wake up feeling amazing one day and have an amazing day planned, and they'll stub their toe in the morning and decide that today's gonna be a bad day, and then it turns into a bad day. Because that external shit affected their internal, it's really just an internal fragility. Right? So true confidence is like stabilizing that internal sense of worth and increasing it. So that's what we go for, dude. Where external stuff, like I met this dude, I'm not gonna say his name just because it's like a public podcast.
Okay.
But he dated this girl for like 6 years, was madly in love with her, proposed to her, and she said no, but they stayed together, and then he proposed to her again, and then she said yes. So he worked for her, right? He got her, they were engaged, and then they were riding, I want to say they were riding motorcycles. I don't think they were on the same motorcycle. Actually, no, they were on the same motorcycle. Yeah, they were on the same motorcycle. And they hit a car that cut a red light, they flipped over, and his fiance broke her neck and died on the spot in front of him.
Damn.
That's it, over. And most people will experience that. And when she dies, though he's physically alive, he dies as well. He does not live from that day forward, right? Or the human, the animal inside of us will be hurt. Probably for a month to 6 months, depending on, like really a month to 6 months, biologically you'll be hurt. And there's nothing you can really do about that. But you're not going to be gone forever because you have that internal sense of who you are, that certainty and what you want to achieve. That is a reason why I need to achieve it. Because of all the pain in the world, it is my job to take away as much as I can. Right? It's all about perspective and that internal shift. And that's why true confidence. People come to me because they have these shitty problems. They don't have a fear of public speaking. They aren't good at talking to girls. Like all this shit, it all comes down to their confidence in whatever it is, dude.
Yeah.
It comes down to true confidence. Like, yeah, I may not be good at talking to girls now, but I know that I'm going to find the girl that I deserve, and I'm just going to make it happen. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to walk up to the most beautiful girl I see and just talk to her because I know, like, I will figure out what to say, even if I don't know what to say. Right?
Yeah,
That's
totally. And that kind of reminded me a little bit about, like, manifesting stuff into your life. So can you touch on that, too? Some examples of how you've done that in your life? Because I'm sure you've –
everything.
Yeah, there you go.
Everything. I manifested a place to stay every single night for 3 months. The cruise I went on recently, I told myself before I'm going on this cruise, I'm going to find a videographer. And I'm going to have him be my videographer for the week. I didn't bring a camera. I did bring mic equipment. And the first day I saw a dude with the camera, so I started talking to him, and he filmed some video for me during that week because I manifested a videographer, right? And all that really happens is, like, obviously that guy was still going to be on the ship, right? And I may have still ran into him. But manifestation is when your subconscious mind believes something and it drives your conscious mind to achieve it. So my subconscious mind was on high alert, looking for a camera.
Yeah.
And I was sitting down, dude, and I saw this dude with a camera. I'm like, camera. And I walked right up to him. I just went to him. My machine was ready for that, right? So I could grab it. If I wasn't, I wouldn't, if I didn't, like, consciously know I'm going to find a videographer and literally manifest it. It's a subconscious belief, knowing I'm going to find one. my body, my machine would have been hardwired to just go right to that person. I wouldn't have seen him.
Yeah.
And honestly, I never saw him again with the camera except for when we went out to shoot. So that's pretty cool. But yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who kind of are a little confused here, I want to clear up one thing. So when you refer to like the subconscious mind as a machine, like why do you kind of refer to it as a machine, and like how much of your life does it really control? Because I've even heard up to like 95%.
Yeah, I've heard people say even higher, dude. I've heard like 99 point like weird percentages and shit. But it controls enough. Let's talk about the conscious real quick. The conscious mind controls a very small amount, but just enough for you to think it's in control. Just enough for the conscious mind to think it's in control, right? And the subconscious mind controls a lot, but not enough to realize it's in control. So we think we're in control all the time. And that's where the problem comes in, because our conscious mind and subconscious mind always clash. The reason why I call the subconscious a machine is because the subconscious is where all the programming lives, where the beliefs, the patterns, the habits, that's where all of that lives, right? So it's a machine because just like a computer, you can reprogram it and change those core habits. Like, and I literally believe we're just organic computers, dude, because you ever have, let's say you're thinking about something and you start tripping you out, right? So you stop moving your body to help you think about the thought.
Yeah.
And for some reason, every single person remembers the time when that happens. Ready for this? You can open up 20,000 tabs on your computer. If you open up too many tabs on your computer's going to stop moving to process everything.
Yeah.
When we have thoughts we can't process, our machine, our body, our physical body stops moving until we can process it. We're literally biological computers. So I use the term machine because the subconscious is where you can reprogram the computer, the software, like the habits.
And guys, that is so huge, because that's something too, like, I've been working on a lot in this past year, and I'm not going to lie, it's been a game changer. Just like when you repetitively tell yourself things and you actually start to believe them, then like Tyler's been saying, guys, it comes into fruition. It becomes part of who you are in your life. So that's definitely something huge. And I'm definitely sure you have a lot more people checking you out after this to get more, knowledge on how to actually reprogram their subconscious. But when it comes to your business now and selling and how you got your first clients specifically, how did you manage to, convince people that hypnosis would be definitely the way for them to go and solving their problem?
Yeah. I mean, it's really easy if you focus on the emotion, right? Like hypnotic sales, people try and convince them rather than have them feel a certain way and then offer them a way to feel that way more. Right? So I get people really excited, or I get people in their pain. If like for my Hypnotist Secrets, it's designed to get you excited. When you go to hypnotistsecrets.com and you look at that, you're going to get excited. And as you continue to scroll through, you're going to get even more excited, because what happens is you're going to join the $7 a month membership and learn hypnosis for $7 a month. And you're going to get excited for the upsells, and you're going to buy all the upsells because you're excited to learn. And then because you're excited, you're going to watch as much as you can and go out there and practice. And it's designed to get you excited. For my personal development, I'm not going to get you excited. I'm going to have you feel your pain. I'm going to have you realize that your pain is not a place you want to stay at, and you can't just ignore it your whole life. Right? So how I got my actual first client, I went to a networking event, went to the after party. I don't recommend this part. This was when I never sold anyone before. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew about the hypnotic context and getting them to feel their pain. So I got really drunk at this after party, and I just started talking to people, and I just started figuring out what their pain was. And once I knew their pain, I figured out a way I could solve it for them. And I presented a little bit of the solution. I dangled the solution, and I said, hey, I'll give it to you for $1,000. And I got 2 clients that night. And then from there, I just replicated. I started posting on Instagram more. I started branding myself, right? And now people reach out to me. People reach out for sessions. I'll call them and I'll figure out their pain. And I'll have them experience it. And then I'll give them the solution, and they never have to experience it again.
That is huge, guys. And two, like a lot of people, like Tyler just said, Hypnotic Secrets starts at $7 a month. And he closed 2 clients with his information and skill set for $2,000 in one night. And that's something where a lot of people, they feel kind of limited, and they're like, oh, I don't know how to make money. There's always ways, guys. You got to think outside the box. Like, and this is something too, where it's no, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. That used to hold me back a lot. There's 3 ways to make money. Ready?
Okay.
What most people do, which if you're listening to this, I'm you're trying to get out of, or you don't really want to. It's a 9 to 5, right? You can work for someone who makes more money than you. They make a big pile and they pass down little piles. And if you have a manager position, you pass down little pile. That's just how it works, right? That's number one, the worst option. Number two, the Walmart approach. You can have a lot of different items and sell to a lot of different people who have a little bit of money. Okay, that works, but it takes a long time to build up. Option three is you can sell to the few people who have the most money for a lot of money. So I went to networking events and I went to the after parties. Yeah, I had to pay like a couple $100s to get into them at the time, but I was there with other people who could spend money just to party.
Yeah. They're
the people who are my clients, and I can fix their pain, dude. Money, just because you have more money doesn't mean you're not fixed. I met a 100 millionaire who is the most broken human alive. Very, very off topic, but really, really sad stuff. Yeah. Anyway.
No, that's definitely great. So now you said because of your branding and because you positioned yourself at these events, and now you kind of have, a reputation. Is that how you get most of your clients now? Did they either hit you up in the DMs or, they just like, Tyler, I need help?
My network essentially got my clients. My personal recommendation would be to focus on your network. Because people are like, you can start a business and it could fail. You can start tons of businesses and they could fail, whatever. Or you can start one and they would go forever. It doesn't matter. People say the foundation is the most important part. And in business, the network is the most important foundation you can have. If you have a network to fall back on, you're secure, you're solidified. That's the security when it comes to business, right? The people you know and the people who would do anything for you because you would do anything for them. So I would start focusing on your network. Most of my clients really came from like 8 months ago. I DM'd that YouTuber on Instagram, Andrew Hales, and chatting with him, this went up. And from that day started the day where people consistently reach out to me on Instagram for issues with stuff. They have issues they want to fix, right? So just start networking with people. When people get to know you and what you can do for the world, and they meet someone in the world who fits what you're trying to do, they'll connect you to, right?
Yeah.
The network's the most important thing. If you want to start making money, start making friends who know how to make money.
That's definitely true. It kind of reminds me of a quote that's like, would you rather have $1 million or 1 million friends? And there's a lot more value within 1 million friends than there is in $1 million. And clearly that's a extreme example there. But
I lose track at that point. I don't know if
better word for friends would be followers in that sense. But yeah, so we've been talking a lot about like you positioning yourself and helping other people getting hypnotized. But do you also teach like self-hypnosis, like ways that people can kind of like reading a book and then teach themselves how to get hypnotized and cleanse themselves of whatever they're dealing with?
100%. I do teach self-hypnosis. I've actually taught self-hypnosis in the past, like in a one-on-one situation. Only one time with this woman who paid $2,000 to learn. And I gave her an entire system to follow and all this stuff, $2,000 to learn self-hypnosis. And that, because it's powerful.
Yeah.
She couldn't afford my regular hypnosis session, so I offered that as an alternative.
Yeah.
But self-hypnosis, dude, is super fucking powerful. And before I was honestly just trying to make money. Like when I did that, I was like, okay, let's fucking just stupid money, Right now I'm at a point where, okay, I want to heal the fucking world.
Yeah.
And how can I heal the world? Okay, by healing the people in the world. And the best way to do that is to get this tool out to the world, hypnosis. So everyone who joins Hypnotist Secrets, they're going to learn hypnosis and learn how to heal other people. But I also have a bonus section, and I think healing the individual, you have to start with the individual. If you can't have one person heal the entire world, unless if they're broken, if they can't even heal themselves. So I teach self-hypnosis in the bonus section in that course, where you can actually sit down and just cleanse your mind, dude. Like not just through meditation, but specifically purge specific negative thoughts or beliefs and replace them with positive ones. So super, super cool stuff.
No, yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that because it's always something where you can never have too strong of a mind. It's such a valuable asset that you take into every situation within your life, guys. So if you're listening to this and you've just not been getting the results you want in something, I would definitely look into, self-hypnosis or whatever it is. Hit up Tyler, because it's so powerful. And I've just seen such great things. And the thing is too, if you're going to develop this, this is something I've kind of struggled with too, is picking like a valuable skill that's also a timeless skill, right? That you can leverage because like Facebook ads, for example, they're great right now. I run them for multiple businesses. It goes well. Like, it's a win-win for everyone, but it's not a timeless skill. The skill of marketing, yes, it is. However, Facebook ads won't be around forever. You know what I mean? And hypnosis is just something where I feel like that is like going to be lifelong. Like people are always going to be able to benefit from that. So did that kind of play into your decision when you're like, man, I want to do this? Or was it just like, this is the most fun for me?
I get bored with things really fast.
Yeah.
Super fast. And I'm always moving my attention elsewhere, doing different things. Hypnosis is just infinite. There's an infinite amount of realities you can create. You can change people's lives. You can entertain people. You can just do I can do an infinite amount of things with hypnosis. You have a headache, I can talk it away. You heard of the placebo effect?
Yeah, totally.
The doctor gives you a pill. The doctor, someone you know, like, and trust. They say, this pill will get rid of your headache. You take it, your headache goes away. They're the hypnotist. They suggested by taking the pill, the headache would go away, right? As a hypnotist, I can make your headache go away in like 30 seconds. So any new reality, the reason why I never get bored is because there's an infinite amount of things I haven't done yet, dude. Yeah. I'm going to start pairing hypnosis with psychedelics to make the suggestions more powerful. Like in clinical settings and be super safe, and I'm going through proper procedures and all that fun stuff. But that's a whole new world, right? Like,
that is definitely a whole new world
stuff, dude.
Yeah. Okay. So what you just touched on there actually is kind of, it interested me very much because my mom gets terrible migraine headaches, like probably once every month at least. And so what strategies do you use to help people like just get rid of a headache, especially like a migraine in such short amount of time?
You got to set the expectation, right? So right there, you and your mom probably share the same belief. She's had them for a very long time. It's gonna be very hard to get rid of them because they've been affecting her for a while.
Yeah.
That's the pre-existing belief you haven't really paid attention to. Now realize that it doesn't have to be there because pain is external information that is processed in your mind. Okay, we can change the information your mind receives by reprogramming. So first, I would have her realize that it can be the pain can disappear and it can never come back. That has to be a possibility in your mind before it can be created out here, right? So first, you set the expectation. Then I would probably use a color association. I use that a lot for pain, where you close your eyes. And recurring pain, I probably do something completely different, to be honest. But if it's in the middle of a migraine and this happens, I would honestly try it out. Tell her, I actually learned this really cool trick. I made a friend who's I say master psychology rather than hypnotist, just because he's a master psychology. And if you just focus on this, it'll actually get rid of your pain. And you have to convince her first. Have her believe it's possible. And then when she believes it's possible, have her close her eyes, focus on a picture of her head, right? And see like a dark red for where the pain is. And it could be like maybe orange for where the pain is not too prominent. And just sort of paint where the pain is. And then the colors also have associations, right? So dark red would be like strong pain. And like a dark green would be no pain at all. Or maybe like white would be no pain. So whatever her mind perceives as no pain, you can change the colors first and the pain will follow. People think, oh, I have this pain, let me picture a color, and you see red. You can actually change that color and change it to orange slowly and notice that as you change it, the pain will start to go away a little bit. And if it stays strong, you keep it at red and you just keep working your way through. You go to an orange, you go to yellow, and you go to green. I use this, dude. When I have headaches, I will work. For some reason, I can get rid of it in like someone else in 15 seconds, but for me, it takes like 3-4 minutes. I'm doing it to myself. Yeah. But you can work your way through that and get rid of headaches, pain. You get an itch on your arm, dude. Here's a little lesson just to grow your mind, right? The mind's a muscle.
Okay, yeah.
If you're ever falling asleep and you get an itch on your body and you're like, fuck, like I wish I didn't have that. I'm so comfortable now I have to itch in and reset, right? Don't. Imagine that itch were somewhere else entirely on your body. Instead of on your leg, it's now in the center of your forehead. And just focus on what it would feel like if it were in the center of your forehead. And just like erase the itch on your leg. Just like imagine what it'd be like to just erase that and put it on your forehead. And you can move itches around your body, dude. You can erase them with your mind. And you can train that up so you can just think an itch away.
Yeah.
Eventually you can build it up, dude. If you can think pain away. Like your headaches with your mom, she could literally get to the point where she can just, it's not there anymore, and have it be real. Right now, if there's something physically wrong, I would highly recommend going to a doctor. I'm not a doctor, right? I can't physically fix anything, but I can block pain. You can break your bone and your bone will stay broken, but I can block the pain because it's all in your mind.
That is crazy. I'll definitely have to look more into that and even test it out because like she's done everything, man. Like, so now we're coming down towards the end of the podcast, you know, and I just have a few questions I like to relay with all my guests. And one of them is, what's some advice that you hear often that you personally think is bad?
Yeah, I'll do one thing, sort of take on the whole society's mindset on this. But everyone's so concerned growing up, like figuring out what job you want, right? Even as a kid, you're thinking of like what job you want. Yeah. We're all trying to like figure out this job and this path you take for your whole life. So the one piece of advice I think is really bad is focusing on the job you want rather than figuring out what you want in the job.
Ooh.
Like, what do you want to get out of the job rather than the actual job? Because it's not about the job, right? Because I personally, in 10 years, I might not be a hypnotist anymore. But I know what my mission in this world is. Well, I'm going to heal the people of the world. So if I find a way to do that that's more effective, I can change jobs because I know what the job does for me.
Huh. That's a really cool way of putting it. Because even you hear teachers all the time, they're like, oh, like you got to think about like what job you want or whatever. Of course, you don't need to think about it now. You got college or whatever, but you never hear people saying like, okay, like kind of reverse engineer it, which is definitely, I found out a lot that reverse engineering is very underrated and it can help you achieve a lot of things. So that's definitely another cool way of putting it. So now, what are some of the habits, that you have in your life that have helped you be successful?
The habits I have in my life to help me be successful. Honestly, this is the one that's out there a lot. Drinking 2 bottles of water in the morning. I will drink a bottle of water, I will shower, and I will drink another, just like chug it down. Because your body's 80% water, your brain's, I don't know what it is, more than that, less than that. A lot of you is water, right? So just by drinking 2 bottles just by drinking water in the morning, I got my cup right here, your body is ready to go, dude. Water is the best thing you can do for yourself. And it's so easy. It's not like waking up and going to the gym or obviously you should go to the gym, but this is one thing you do that you can just feel a lot better, and that's drink 2 bottles of water every morning.
Yeah, no, that's great. And that's actually something I do, and it does help a lot, just my clarity of mind.
Stuff like that, since you have a clear mind, like just by drinking the water in the morning, you're more likely, you feel better, right? You have the clarity of your mind. You're more likely to do the choice, to make the decisions that are right for you. Go to the gym, eat healthy, do the right things. Just from that, it starts this sort of chain reaction.
Yeah, no, definitely started out right. So now our last question here is, even with all the success that you have had, as an entrepreneur, there's always ways to improve yourself as a person or an entrepreneur. So either on a business or personal side, like what is the biggest change that you want to make in your life?
The biggest change I want to make in my life would be to get this apartment locked in. I know it's nothing like super deep. But the past year and a half, I've been not staying in a consistent location for more than a week. So that's been relatively short. Like even here, I'm saying at my Phil McCarthy. I honestly reach out to him, dude. He's a fire guest to have on.
Phil McCarthy.
Yeah, he's a freak fitness guy. But this is his place right now while I'm looking for apartments. But honestly, just to have a stable place, dude, so I can sit down in the same place. I know it sounds crazy. I love spontaneity, and I've been all for it. But I need some routine right now, dude. I need to stay in one place for more than a week because it's hard to get like habits. That's why I love the walk marathon so much, because I can do that everywhere.
Yeah, that's true, because I was thinking about it. I'm like, if you always have someone that's constantly changing, it just takes a little more brain power to adapt with it. And when you have that consistent, surroundings, of course it's good to change it up every now and then, but when you have that, it allows you to use that same power on other things and be more creative in those areas of your life as well. So I definitely get what you're saying there. But Tyler, you have been sharing awesome, hypnosis secrets, tips, tricks, everything, business advice. Where can our listeners follow up with you?
Instagram.com/Tyler the Hypnotist. It is at Tyler the Hypnotist. I respond to every single DM, although it may take me a little bit to get back to you, but that'd be the best spot.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Tyler. It was really a pleasure having you on today.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, you bet. And that is a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show and taking one step closer to becoming that future millionaire. All I'm asking from you guys is that you please take the short amount of time to review this episode. And once you do that, take a screenshot, send it to me on my Instagram, which is Gavin Lero with a period in the middle. And I will be sure to repost that in my Instagram story, give you guys a shout out. Or if you post something about the podcast in your Instagram story, I will be sure to repost that, and there's a little something extra to that I think you guys will like that will be attached to my response to you in the DMs. So look forward to that. All you have to do if you're on iTunes podcast app is you just have to pull up the current episode you're listening to. You hit the purple Future Millionaires underneath the title of that episode. You scroll all the way down to the bottom past all the other episodes. Then you hit write a review, which is underneath, the 5 stars, the visual 5 stars, and you give it a title, a quick description, however amount of stars you think it's worth. Of course, I preferably would love 5. And then you hit send. And all you have to do after that is just know that I am very thankful. Guys, I really, really believe that this is a very powerful education tool for your growth, and I want you to succeed. So please also reach out to me on Instagram, which is Gavin.Lira. And I will be sure to answer any questions that you may have, or, any ideas you want to bounce off me. I love to hear them. I love entrepreneurship, helping other people. So let's all succeed together, and you have an amazing day.